All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything else out there, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there. And this guy here, on February 8th, Kiss Catalog Limited, the owner of the intellectual property rights pertaining to the legendary rock group Kiss, filed an application with the United States Patent and Trademark Office for the word mark, the end of the road. If granted, the registration will protect the use of the standard character mark of the end of the road for entertainment services, specifically live performances by a musical band. Word of the application has led to speculation among Kiss fans that the band could be preparing to embark on its final tour. Kiss had once before publicly announced its plans to call it quits nearly 20 years ago. Guitarist vocalist Paul Stanley later said that the band's tumultuous farewell tour in 2000 was nothing more than an attempt by the group to put Kiss out of its misery. After years of ego clashes and disagreements about songwriting credits between the band's original members, the farewell tour was to get off the stage with our tails between our legs while we still had some self-respect, bassist vocalist Gene Simmons says, and it became very clear, though, that the fans didn't want to let us go. Simmons said in a 2017 interview that Kiss had a few more years left before it would call it quits. He told Glasgow Live, "We're the hardest working band in show business. I wear over 40 pounds of studs and armor and all that stuff. 7-inch platform heels. I spit fire and have to fly through the air and do all that stuff." He continued, "In hindsight, it would have been smarter to be U2 or the Rolling Stones. Yeah. Wear some sneakers and a t-shirt and so forth. So we're not going to be able to do this into our 70s, and I'm 67 now. We'll do it for a few more years, and then we'll think it might be time to go. We'll go, and we'll do it the right way with a big party. I'd like to think that we would do something that rocks the planet, something big and worldwide, and maybe even free." Stanley has repeatedly said that the band could one day continue without him and Gene, explaining in an interview, "Once the original Kiss lineup was no more, it just became clear to us that in some ways we're much more a sports team. We don't fall into the limitations of other bands because we're not other bands." So yeah, at some point, I'd love to see somebody in the band in my place, and it's because I love the band. Wow. Okay, so I've had a lot of discussion about original members, not original members. It can't be any good if it's not the original members. And I've gotten to the point, and certainly with one band in particular, the Little River Band is the band I'm talking about. But again, Quiet Riot, for instance, they don't have any original members, and they don't even try to sound like their legacy sound. My hunch is both Gene and Paul would ensure that whoever takes their places in the future in this franchise or sports team, as they call it, those professionals, those performers, musicians, they will have a Kiss sound. And because I know Paul and Gene, they're marketing geniuses. Gene Simmons is a genius. And the fact is, folks, we're getting to the point now where this is going to continue to happen. Lynyrd Skynyrd has one original member right now. The Eagles has one original member. Foreigner has one. And sometimes he doesn't show up for gigs. So they get a guitar player that replaces him. I'm talking about Mick Jones. And you've got 0 original members. And you can go down a list of pretty much all the bands that are out there performing. 1 or 2 original members, maybe 3. But mostly it's down to 1 or 2. And I've made this contention before, and there's nothing wrong with it. You have to kind of let go of the fact that this is happening, and there's nothing we can do to prevent it. Aging is happening. the music we love is disappearing. And if someone wants to come along and try to keep it alive with the permission of the band or with a legal contract for that matter, who are we to kind of complain about it? Now, if you're an original band and you decided to leave, or you had little in I don't know, input into the guys who replaced you. By the way, the LRB guys, the original ones, they're the ones that brought Wayne Nelson in. So they're kind of making my point, except they can't accept it now. And for fans, Kiss to continue on without Paul and Gene, some are just going to say, no way, it can't happen. But Paul and Gene give their blessing, and I'll tell you what, that's going to go a long way in making some fans happy. Everything will always be judged against the original. That's fair. And I think any band that does this should recruit people who actually fit the role, so it doesn't turn into a karaoke band. It's still a tribute band with the logo or the brand or the trademark, all of those things. Look, Kiss is probably the band that was marketed better than any band in history. Even if you didn't like their music, their stuff was everywhere. From lunch boxes and TV trays and thermoses and t-shirts, just everything those guys did was off the charts as far as marketing and using, entrepreneurial stuff to get their music out there. And it worked. It worked. Fans love that band. And their devoted fans just absolutely show up in droves when they go out and play concerts. So that's it. This is something that's going to happen, and this is a sign of things to come. For the Real Music Observer, that would be me, by the way, for me, I'm Dave, and I'll be back with more real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. And maybe I need to take a page from Paul and Gene.